Hello, friends. Welcome to Storycraft. On this channel, you will enjoy world top stories. Let's view the video. Mysteries that will never be solved. 1. The Man Who Walked Out of Time. In 2006, a disoriented man was found wandering the streets of Tokyo. He wore outdated clothes and carried coins no longer in circulation. When questioned, he claimed he was from the year 1954 and had simply stepped out of his office for lunch, only to find the world completely changed. He remembered nothing beyond his name, Shoji Inoue. No government records, fingerprints, or DNA matched any known individual. His story gained media attention, and time-slip theorists flocked to the case. Then, just as mysteriously as he appeared, Shoji vanished from a locked hospital room. Surveillance footage showed no one entering or leaving. No clues were left behind, only the old coins and a wristwatch that had stopped exactly at 12:17 p.m., the moment he claimed he stepped out. Was he a time traveler, a victim of a cosmic anomaly, or a hoax? The world may never know. His case remains unsolved, hidden deep within classified files and conspiracy forums. 2. The Village That Vanished. Overnight. In 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle arrived at an Inuit village near Lake Angikuni in northern Canada, only to find it completely deserted. Dozens of people had vanished without a trace. There were no signs of struggle, no footprints, and strangely, food was still cooking over extinguished fires. Even the sled dogs were found buried under snow, starved to death and still tied to their posts. Most chilling of all, graves in the local burial ground had been unearthed and emptied. Authorities were baffled. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigated, but never reached a solid conclusion. Theories ranged from alien abductions to time portals, and even supernatural causes tied to ancient Inuit legends. But no evidence ever surfaced. To this day, no trace of the villagers has ever been found. No bodies, no belongings, not even bones. The Angikuni mystery remains one of the most terrifying and unsolvable mass disappearances in history, whispered among Arctic locals as a warning not to disturb the spirits of the North. 3. The Ghost Ship with No Crew in December 1872, the Sioux merchant brig Mary Celeste was found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship was completely intact, its cargo untouched, and its sails partially set. But not a soul was aboard. The captain, his wife, their daughter, and the entire crew had vanished. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no damage to the vessel. Personal belongings were left behind, meals were half-eaten, and the lifeboat was missing. But weather had been clear, and the ship seaworthy. Investigators were mystified. Theories abounded: pirates, sea monsters, mutiny, even alien abduction. But no conclusive evidence ever explained the disappearance. Strangely, the last log entry made no mention of trouble, and everything appeared normal just hours before the discovery. The mystery of the Mary Celeste continues to haunt maritime historians and mystery lovers alike, a chilling tale of a ship sailing into oblivion with its entire crew erased from existence. To this day, no trace of them has ever been found. Oh, the lost girl who spoke an unknown language. In 1952, a young girl was discovered wandering the forests near the village of Białowieża, Poland. She appeared around 7 years old, barefoot, dressed in strange clothing made from woven leaves and fur. When authorities tried to speak with her, she responded in a language no one could identify, neither Slavic nor any known dialect. Linguists and anthropologists were brought in, but no one could decode her speech. She drew maps of places that didn't exist and pointed to stars instead of directions. She showed knowledge of astronomy far beyond her age. Attempts to integrate her into society failed. She resisted modern comforts and preferred sleeping under the stars. After just 3 weeks, she vanished from a locked room during a thunderstorm, leaving behind only a single drawing: a crescent moon hovering over a tall, spiral-shaped mountain. That mountain has never been found. Her file remains open and unsolved, buried deep in archives and whispered about by those who believe she wasn't from Earth or time. The book no one can read. In the 15th century, a manuscript known as the Voynich manuscript was discovered in the library of a Jesuit college in Italy. The book contained over 200 pages of text written in an unknown script and, accompanied by strange, incomprehensible illustrations of plants, astronomical symbols, and human figures in bizarre poses. Despite decades of research by cryptographers, linguists, and historians, no one has been able to decipher the language or meaning of the book. Some believe it was a hoax, but others argue that the manuscript may contain lost knowledge or an alien message. Radiocarbon dating places the book's origins in the early 1400s, and many believe it was created by an unknown author with knowledge of highly advanced yet now forgotten science. The book's mysterious illustrations continue to puzzle scholars, some speculating they depict unrecorded plant species and even UFO-like craft. The Voynich manuscript has become one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in history, with no clear explanation or conclusion in sight. 6. The phone calls from the dead. Starting in the 1970s, people across the U.S. began reporting something chilling: phone calls from loved ones who had recently died. These weren't vague, static-filled prank calls. They were crystal clear. Callers recognized the voices, heard specific phrases only that person would say, and often received messages of comfort or warnings. One famous case involved a man named Charles Peck, who died instantly in a 2008 train crash in California. Yet for over 12 hours after the accident, his phone made repeated calls to his family. When answered, there was only silence or static. Emergency teams used those signals to locate his body, which had been pinned in the wreckage. No logical explanation was ever found for how the calls were made. Phone records confirmed they originated from Peck's phone, long after he had died. Dozens of similar cases have been documented, defying scientific explanation. Are these echoes from the afterlife, electrical anomalies, or something far more unsettling? No one knows. But every time a dead phone rings, someone answers. 7. The man from a country that doesn't exist. In 1954, a well-dressed man arrived at Tokyo's Haneda Airport with a passport from a country no one had ever heard of, Tord. His documents looked authentic, complete with stamps and visas from multiple countries, including Japan. When immigration officers questioned him, he confidently pointed to a map showing Tord's location near Andorra. He was shocked when told the country didn't exist. According to him, it had existed for over 1,000 years. Authorities detained him in a hotel room while they investigated. Guards were posted outside, but by morning the man had vanished. No one saw him leave. His documents disappeared too. He was never found again. Some believe he slipped into another dimension, one where Tord is real. Others claim he was a time traveler or part of a failed government experiment. The case remains one of the strangest unsolved anomalies in modern history. Despite being decades old, it continues to fascinate conspiracy theorists and skeptics alike. The mystery of the man from Torrid still echoes through the halls of alternate reality lore. '8. The girl who woke up speaking a lost language. In 2013, a teenage girl named Emily in rural Ireland fell into a brief coma following a biking accident. When she awoke, she spoke fluently in a language no one around her could understand. Linguists were stunned when it was identified as Ancient Sumerian, a language that hadn't been spoken for over 4,000 years. Emily had never studied ancient history or languages and had no access to such texts. More bizarrely, she described visions of a vast desert city with ziggurats, rituals, and people in robes calling her by a different name, Enatu. She claimed she had returned from there. Experts tested her and confirmed that her vocabulary, grammar, and even writing matched classical Sumerian to a scholarly degree. But after several weeks, Emily gradually forgot the language, and her memories of that life faded. She has no recollection of what she said during that time. Researchers still debate the case. Was it past life memory, possession, or a psychological anomaly? No scientific explanation has been agreed upon, and her case remains one of the strangest modern linguistic mysteries ever recorded. 9. The town that appears once every 100 years. In the Scottish Highlands, legends speak of a mysterious village named Glencairn, a place said to appear for just one day every 100 years before vanishing into the mist. According to local lore, Glencairn is untouched by time. Visitors have claimed to stumble upon it during heavy fog, describing cobblestone streets, oil lamps glowing softly, and residents dressed in 18th century attire. The townspeople are friendly but seem confused by modern references. In 1925, a hiker named Edward McTavish claimed to have spent an evening there, only to awaken the next morning on a hilltop miles away with a coin in his pocket bearing the town's name, unlike any known currency. Similar sightings were reported in 1825 and 2025, always a century apart, always identical. Some believe the town is caught in a time loop, cursed by a forgotten ritual. Others suggest it exists in a parallel dimension that briefly aligns with ours. No official records of Glencairn exist, yet the stories persist. Each century brings a new account, and the next appearance won't be until 2125, unless the mist chooses otherwise. 10. The man who dreamed the future. Accurately. David Powell was an unremarkable man from Sussex until the dreams began. Starting in 1981, he claimed to see vivid visions of events yet to come. He documented each one in a leather-bound journal. At first, his dreams were mundane, election results, weather patterns, but they started growing darker. One night, he dreamed of a space shuttle exploding mid-air. Months later, the Challenger disaster occurred exactly as he described. He dreamed of 9/11, describing two metal birds hitting twin giants in a city of glass. His writings were dated, verified by notaries, and stored with lawyers. Powell was terrified of sleeping. His final dream entry described a city drowning in fire and flood, with the words, London, 2030. After that, he vanished. Some say he faked everything. Others believe he was tapping into a hidden layer of consciousness, one where time folds. Conspiracy theorists now call his journal the Book of Time. None of his remaining predictions have yet come true, but the year 2030 is approaching fast. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel Storycraft for more interesting videos.